like yours will surely come my way. Hey, every day seems a little longer. Every way, love's a little stronger. Come what may, do you ever long for true love from me? There you go, and baby, here am I. Oh, will you left me here so I could sit and cry? Well, golly gee, what have you done to me? Oh, well, I guess it doesn't matter anymore. Love you like I do.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Cars and Us. My name is Dennis Tate. I'll be your host for the next 30 minutes. We're at a car show that's an annual event for the last, about 15, 20 years up in Patterson, New York. That's just north of Westchester County, where we come from. And it is an annual event, and it's run for the, it's at the Patterson Public Park. But it's sponsored and run as a charity for handicapped kids. It's a great event, and it's very worthwhile. It's a beautiful park setting here. Behind me is a beautiful beach and the lake that they have when they come here just to come into the park. The grass in the whole area holds, I guess over 300 cars. That's the turnout they get about every year. So it's a great event. They invite me up here every year. I look forward to coming up, especially when it's a beautiful day like it is. Sun is out and it's probably 90 degrees. We're not even out of the lunchtime yet, and already the lot is pretty much full in the area that we are right now. They probably have somewhere in the vicinity of 200 cars already. Got a lot of vendors here. My friend Donnie Kalady with the Connecticut Classic Cruise News is over there giving out his papers, and they're going to have, I understand, Butch Patrick, the Eddie Munster, having him show up today, and we got an old classic car called the Undertaker that we're going to have over here. We'll get a chance to see that after as well. So let's walk around and talk to some people and see some really, really nice cars. So stick with us for the next 30 minutes. It's always nice to have a woman on camera, and that's involved in the hobby, obviously. I have Marianne O'Lear. She's got a real unique car because she's got a 69 Shelby GT350 that, for you old-time race guys, you'll remember these Hertz rent-a-cars that you guys used to rent and take them to Dover Drag Strip and race. And she has a real authentic one. I think the number is 3119 or something like that. But Marianne, I want to welcome you to Cars and Us.
Thank you, Dennis. Okay? It's great to be here.
I'm glad I spoke to your husband and I spoke to our good friend Bobby Clark, and we got a chance to get you over here for a few minutes and talk to you and find out about the details about this car, how long you've had it. I don't know too much about this one in particular. I know Bobby educates me on most of them, but I'm not too familiar with this one. So, tell the viewers what we're looking at.
Sure. It's a Shelby GT350, and basically I bought it. I always wanted one. I bought it just for the fun of it. And when we did find out more and more about it, as a matter of fact, Ken called Bobby up to find out if numbers were matching, if the car was correct the way it was back then. Bob has a book, a Shelby registry book, and he said that the car is in the registry. And he also told us that it was a Hertz rent-a-car, which to me, when I found out, I was so very excited. It's something that's rarer than just a regular one. I bought it last September, and it's sat basically since September, and my husband Ken just finished it for me. He put in the new interior. He finished it up on Friday to bring it here to have it, and this is it. Here it is. And I'm very excited. It was great driving it. We live about 45 minutes away. The car drove great. It's a very comfortable driving car. And I was driving, and my husband was in the passenger seat this morning.
That's terrific. I understand it's your car. He told me it was your car.
Yes, it is. Like I said, something I always wanted, and basically it's a dream come true.
Well, what made you always want a Shelby GT350? And a red one at that.
This one so happens to be red. That's great. It's a color that more people do like. Yeah. Red. I guess it's something that's not more rare, but it's more of an ooh color. Ooh, you know, you see and it's like, wow, red. It's a wow color. But if it was another color, I still would have bought it anyway. But this so happens to be red, and it's a great thing. But
how did you find it?
We found it online. The previous owner lived in Rhode Island, and he was clueless that it was a Hertz rent-a-car.
Right?
He knew nothing.
Oh, what a steal you got.
Yeah, he knew nothing. As a matter of fact, we found other letters from a previous owner, and Ken was able to contact this owner. He got his phone number, called him up, and the guy was very, very happy to hear that we had it, and we were going to restore it and take good care of it.
Where was the original from?
That Ken knows. I'm not quite sure on the stats on that, but local.
So this guy knew absolutely nothing about the history.
The guy from Rhode Island that I bought it from knew nothing that it was a Hertz rent-a-car, and we did tell him when we found out.
Did that make any difference to him?
No, not at all. He was going to sell the car. He needed it to do some things, some restoration on his home for him and his wife.
Right.
So he needed the money.
Right.
And
now, was it offered on eBay?
It first was offered on eBay. He had it at a higher reserve than what I purchased it for. It did not go for that money. And Ken figured, let's take a chance. Let's offer him,
Right.
an amount and see if he would take it. And a little bit back and forth, hemming and hawing. And we said, look, we're not going to play any more games. We really would like to have the car. I would like to purchase it. And I'll give you this amount. And he took it.
Had he known what this car was, I'm sure that, and if he had advertised it that way, he would have gotten a lot more for it.
More than likely, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
What
kind of condition was it in, Mira?
The way you see it, the paint is what it is. The gentleman that I did buy it from did have an auto body shop years ago. However, his son now owns it, so he claimed that he did repaint it, but many, many years ago. So the way you see it here is the way I bought it, except for the interior. It has a brand new interior, except for the headliner is still the original one, and the door skins. Ken did put in new carpeting for me, and the seats are redone. But if not, the rest is what it is, and Ken just redyed it to bring it back to the original.
So you've had it to a number of shows, though, so far, right?
This is the first one.
This is the first one?
Yeah, this is the first one.
Well, that's terrific.
Very
well,
exciting.
Good luck. I'm sure that the judges and they're friends of mine, the Duchess Cruisers, they're good car guys. They know what cars are how to judge cars and what cars are real and the rarity of them, So I'm sure you'll fare well in whatever class they put you in. I don't know what class they put you in.
It's a Shelby class.
It is?
It is.
Oh, okay.
Shelby's basically, they're put into their own class because of what they are.
What they are.
They're Mustangs, but they're not Mustangs. It's above that.
Do you have any information displayed that describes what this car is?
No, not right now. But
did you tell the judges when they came around? Did you talk to them and tell them?
Unfortunately, I was out judging myself, other vehicles, and tallying up score sheets. So whoever judge, you know, they'll see it. It is
Right.
what it is. And
Right. Well, you know what? It's been a pleasure. I'm glad that we were able to make an introduction, and it's a great car you have. Best of luck with the car.
Thank
Enjoy it for many years, and you know, I hope to see you at another show.
Thank you
I'm sure
so
you'll do
much.
very well.
Thank you,
Mary Ann.
Dennis. It's been my pleasure.
My pleasure. You make the show.
Okay. I try. I do my best. I have fun with it. That's what I'm here
That's what
for,
it's
to
all
enjoy
about.
it. Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Well, from one Ford product to another, 1950s, but this is a real classic, 1957 Thunderbird. They're a real true 50s classic car, two-seater sport car that they brought out to compete against the Corvettes back in 1955, and they did a great job for 3 years, from 55, 56, and 57. So we got a 57 here, and we have John Rao. Welcome to Cars and Us, John.
How you doing?
Pleasure to see you here.
My
and
pleasure.
like I said, this is a real classic car, a real great car. Thunderbirds, unfortunately, it was short-lived, 3 years, but they were certainly a hot car then.
Well, we've had this car 20 years.
Have you?
We've enjoyed this car. We took it from a basket roach to the car you see today.
No kidding.
Took us 10 years of restoration.
That's terrific.
Purely an amateur restoration. My wife and I did it ourselves. Most of the car ended up in our living room or our dining room at some point.
That must have been a lot of fun.
At other times, it was source of an argument.
Well, that's going to happen from time to time, especially if you had it in the house, you know?
Yeah, well, yeah, she kind of got used to seeing car parts, and she got real intimate with the car.
Well, hey, listen, you know, that's it's not the first time I've heard that, to be honest. A lot of guys, I've heard of guys bringing their cars in their living room.
Well, this car has been our baby. It's kind of going to stay in the family. If anything, it'd be good left my grandson when I'm going.
John, where'd you find it long ago?
Actually, this car came from Texas, found its way to Tennessee, belonged to a doctor in Tennessee. He put it in a museum for 10 years. Being in a museum, the car mechanically just destroyed itself. All the seals and gaskets were going on it.
Sure.
The paint cracked, it was aged. Spent 10 years in a museum, and then we bought it out of the museum. And then we did a complete body-up restoration on it. Took the frame off, stripped the brake car down to raw metal, rebuilt the engine, rebuilt the transmission rear end. And since the rebuild, it's been 17 years since we've rebuilt it, so the car's been a treat to have.
That's not an amateur restoration. That's a real professional restoration. I mean, that's a complete job.
Well, I'm the amateur, and it took me a long time to learn what I was doing before I did it.
That's okay. You know, it shows. The car's a beautiful car.
Well, thank you very much. It's my pride and joy. Next to my wife, it's my favorite thing in the world.
You had to say that.
She's standing behind me.
John, what motor?
This has a 312 engine with 245 horsepower. It's completely stock. This car was taken to the Nationals. It won Best of Show at the Nationals, down the All-Ford Nationals in Pennsylvania. We took it to the International Thunderbird Club Concourse Convention. We took senior level with that, and then we took it to the CTCI convention, and we took senior level with that there also.
All right, now for the viewers, what does CTCI stand for?
It's a Classic Thunderbird International Club,
Okay.
and the ITC is the International Thunderbird Club.
Right.
And they specialize only in the Thunderbirds. CTCI specializes only in 55 to 57, and the International Thunderbird ITC is 55 through 2005.
Right.
But they have classes and ways of judging a car against a standard, not judging a car against each other. So they look at functionality and originality on a car.
That's a neat way to judge. That's
Yeah.
really unique. That's terrific.
It says that your car needs to be at a concourse level and be equal to new.
Wow.
So tough restoration. It's a tough achievement to get. And
Well, you've attained it.
I'm very proud of the badges I wear on the grill of my car.
That's outstanding. That's it should be. You know,
Thank you very much.
Especially, you know, you did this all yourself. Your wife helped you with it. I mean, a lot of people would just prefer to go out and buy something turnkey.
Well, we thought it was turnkey when we bought it until that's why we cut our teeth on this car, learning about antiques and classics, and
Right.
and we found out that you just don't buy an antique car and drive it around.
That's for sure.
There's a lot of care and maintenance that goes into them. If you don't take care of the car every year, the car wants to return to its roots, and its roots are, you know, the ashes to ashes.
Right. You know, I'm glad you said that because the viewers that are not familiar with cars, I tried to get them to learn something at each show that I do and from each person that I interview. And that was a very good point you made because there is so much behind the scenes that people really don't realize.
Oh yeah, it's just a matter of keeping the fluids proper. Today's day and age, you can put transmission fluid in your car, and automatic transmission fluid is automatic transmission fluid. But the old antique Fords, there's a Type F transmission fluid that must go in them. And if you put the new transmission fluid in, what it does is it bubbles, and it doesn't boil, but it bubbles over, and you ended up leaking out your transmission fluid. So it's very proper to have. It's very important to have the proper fluids that belong into the car, the ones that were recommended when the car was new. And there's reasons for the recommendations.
How many miles has the car got on it?
It has 98,000 original miles on it, and it has 3,000 miles on it since restoration.
Oh, okay. All right. You said it was in a museum, so I was going to ask you before. I almost lost my train of thought. But how did you come to find it?
We went down to a museum looking at cars just to see how pretty they were, and we spotted this one sitting there, and we said, gee, by chance, is that car for sale? And
everything's for sale.
The curator said, of course it's for sale. Everything, and just like you said, everything's here for sale. It's just a matter of the price. After some negotiation with the owner in Tennessee, the museum took a consignment, and we took the car.
Terrific. You obviously had it shipped home and then started...
Yeah, we had a flatbed at home.
And then you started to uncover all its little idiosyncrasies.
We made our first mistake on our first drive out with the car. The battery went dead.
Oh.
And we said, oh my, okay, so we replaced the battery. And then our second trip out, the radiator, all the fluid came out of it, and the gaskets and seals, they were all leaking on the car. And we found out that this beautiful car we bought wasn't quite as beautiful as we thought it was.
Yeah, well...
But now, now it's an extremely reliable car. I'll take it anywhere. But
I'm sure.
It was all a matter of it does no good to have a car sit.
No.
If you don't use it, you just lose it.
It deteriorates. It's like anything else.
It just sits there and it goes bad. So
it's like a human body.
If you're going to have an old car, first off, you got to be able to maintain the car, and you've got to be able to be willing to take it out and use it. If you're just going to look at the car, don't buy it.
Right.
Enjoy it. Take it out.
Good advice to the viewers.
Yeah. Yeah.
John, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for picking my car as part of your interview process.
Well, you know what? You guys make the show. I tell everybody that. It's the guys, the girls, and their cars that make the show. It's not me. I'm just, I'm just here. That's all.
I appreciate it.
But,
thank you for being a car lover.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
It looks like today is Ford Day. Although there's so many cars up here, there's so many street rods and custom cars and classics and everything. But it seems like we've run into some people that wanted to put our car on camera. And I have Paul and Ethan Dickerman. And they have this nice 1965 Ford Falcon Futura. And I understand it's a California car. So we're going to welcome to Cars and Us. Paul, Ethan,
thank you.
Welcome to Cars and Us. And nice to see you here at the show. This is a great show.
It is. It's a great afternoon.
This is one of the finest shows up here. Beautiful setting.
Yes.
But as I was telling the viewers, this is a California car. How long have you had it?
How long have you had this, bud?
Just about 2 years.
Yeah.
How'd you find it?
We ride bicycles up in Ulster County quite a bit, and we went by a house, and this car was out in the grass, and we went by it probably 3 years. And then we finally decided to inquire, and we tracked down who owned it, and we bought it, and you'd never know it was the same car.
That's terrific. So it must have been pretty well beat up, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty bad, and now it's amazing.
How long did it take you to do this?
Right about now, it's 1 year.
A year?
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's probably closer to 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 years.
What did you have your hand involved in doing?
Working on the motor and pretty much anything that I could help with.
So you like detailing the motor, making it nice and clean?
Yeah.
And painting it?
Yep.
That's terrific. What else did you have to do to it?
Well, it had a lot of work with the interior. We had to do reupholstering. We had to do carpeting. We refurbished and restored the dashboard and the instrument panel. We had to rebuild the brakes from the ground up.
Yeah, sure, you have to make it mechanically sound.
Absolutely. As well as we just finally finished restoring the exhaust system, believe it or not, to a stock condition.
That's
But
terrific.
Ethan was a tremendous help when it came to reinstalling the chrome that goes the spears.
He's got small hands. He can do that detail work.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
that was a lot of work. It was very time consuming. We spent an entire day just on each side of the car
I'm sure.
reinstalling that chrome trim.
I'm sure.
Oh,
How many shows have you been to?
Probably almost 50, maybe 100.
That's terrific. I guess you got a lot of trophies by now.
Actually, we only have 10, but
Well, that's all right.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me tell you something. just talked to a fella earlier on in the show, and one thing you should realize, because you're at an early age, so, you know, a little advice. This is not about the awards. This is about owning the car, having a piece of American history, and the camaraderie, meeting new people, and making new friends, and enjoying the car.
Yeah.
You're always time for trophies.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
That's my advice. That's so that'll be my my soliloquy for this interview. But I wish you well, and enjoy the car, because that's what it's all about. All right, enjoy the show, and you know, we'll look forward to seeing you around again at other shows.
We'll be here.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Para bailar la bamba, para bailar la bamba se necesita una poca de gracia para mi patilla, arriba y arriba, y arriba y arriba, por mi cerebro, yo no soy marinero, soy capitán, soy capitán, soy capitán. Bamba, 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 bamba. Para bailar la bamba, para bailar la bamba se necesita una poca de gracia, una poca de gracia para ti, arriba y arriba. Para bailar la bamba, para bailar la bamba se necesita una poca de gracia, una poca de gracia para mi patilla, arriba y arriba, y arriba y arriba, por ti seré, por ti seré, por ti seré. Bamba, bamba.
2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. Put your glad rags on. Join me home. We'll have some fun when the clock strikes 1. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock, rock, rock till broad daylight. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. When the clock strikes 2, 3, and 4, if the band slows down, we'll yell for more. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock, rock, rock till broad daylight. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. When the chimes ring 5, 6, and 7, we'll be right in 7th heaven. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock, rock, rock till broad daylight.
Do-bop-si-do, bum-ba-bum-bum-bum. Do-bop-si-do, bum-ba-bum-bum-bum.
I always want you because my heart is true. Come, come, come closer, and I'll tell you of the ABCs. Darling, believe me, every day my love grows strong. Find a place there in your heart, and I'll tell you of the ABCs. Gosh knows I love you, heaven knows it's true. I wanna be near you, JKLMNOPQ. Run, honey, and don't be blind. Sugar, you stay on my mind. True love is hard to find, and I'll tell you of the ABCs. You made me love you. Vow always to be true. W, X, Y, and Z. I've told you of the ABCs.